It's nice to be here. Okay, actually, and it's nice because there are so many startup people, out here. I'm also running my second startup. I was in advertising for over 15 years. Then in 2008, I quit and started a company called Hungry and Foolish. Unfortunately, it lived up to its name, completely. So in 2 years, I had to shut it down. And since then, I've been running something called 10-10-10, And why it's nice to be here is, it's not just to give fundas. All of us like to come and give fundas on stage, but also to hang around, meet some friends, and meet new people. Yeah? All your strangers are potential friends. We're all in the same industry. And the fact is, even when I go to social media, I spend a lot of time on Twitter, I spend a lot of time on Facebook. It's actually to do this, to go around and hang around with friends, have chat, make new friends, follow interesting people. But these brands have come and very ruined this, okay, completely. So if you're talking about standing out in clutter, let's first see what the clutter is about. It's brands. So whenever I go to Twitter and Facebook, I'm getting swamped by brands, okay? I even get hair care ads on Facebook, talk about targeting, okay? So some nonsense keeps coming and it completely ruins my experience, because fundamentally when I go to Twitter and Facebook to hang out with my friends, not chat with my beer. I do chat with my beer, but that's after many beers, okay? Then sometimes I do end up chatting. So, and why are these brands getting so desperate? And it's not that Twitter and Facebook cannot be used for brand building and all that stuff. It's probably the way that they're doing it, It's what does the brand do on Twitter? There's an obsession with getting some hashtag going. It could be any meaningless hashtag. It could have nothing to do with the brand, but it's just getting hashtag going, getting people to, talk about it, and virtually spamming, timelines. Like, for instance, I remember there was this phenomenon going out there. For every minute, replace movie name with. I don't know if you played it. So there was replace movie name with TV, replace movie name with the TV channel, replace movie name with anything, In fact, my fund at that time was to replace the digital agency which starts such hashtags, And so this kind of thing keeps on going, and why, Half the time when I go out there, suddenly on Twitter on the left, I'll see some new trend which I just don't understand. It's because of brands running contests, Suddenly there'll be one Shahid Afridi or something trending for absolutely no rhyme or reason. So I start wondering, man, did he retire again? Did he come out of retirement? Did he turn 20? I mean, what happened? You'll just find out that there was a quiz question going on and Shahid Afridi was one of the answers. And all this is very, very easy for a brand to do. Getting something trending on Twitter is not such a big deal, right? And you have these people who are called social media influencers who do just this, right? And social media influencers for me are a horrible tribe, okay? I really don't like them. I keep unfollowing them simply because I think they exploit their followers, okay? It's all they do is, like we crib about Times of India when they do paid news. We crib about TV channels when they take money and change the editorial. For me, people at a smaller level, all these social media influencers are doing just this because without really disclosing it, they are just exploiting their followers and promoting brands. So like all of us use brands and talk to people. For me, typically, influencers talk to brands and use their people, And all this for what? In order to get my brand trending for about half an hour. Okay, all this clutter, all this spamming is just for that. And what do you get out of it? Do you remember what was trending yesterday? I don't. I don't even remember what was trending this morning. It's just some 15 minutes of fame which comes and just completely gets forgotten. In fact, the only hashtags I remember are things like this, There's usually one Pappu Don't Preach will be there. There'll be something about Namo or Feku or something. Something about Shah Rukh Khan with Salman fans immediately, replying to it. Chore media is always there. Arnab trends because he's Arnab. And of course, he doesn't even have a hashtag. It's beyond that. Okay? He's like, and as usual, every 2 days, suddenly one release Asaram Bapu keeps coming up. Okay? Now, in all this, with great effort, by paying money, by spamming timelines, you'll have one brand. Like this morning, this was trending. This one for everyone. It's apparently for a phone. Oh, who even knows that? It was trending for half an hour this morning. It'd probably go off. And all this effort is for the 15 minutes of this. You have just ruined people's experiences, right? And it's not just Twitter. I mean, it's also in Facebook, right? Twitter, I think it's far more prevalent in Twitter. Facebook already, okay, one, the Facebook ads are there, which Zuckerberg does it. We can't do anything about it. It's also the simplest way. Okay, I want to promote on social media. What do? I'll start a Facebook page, right? After putting a Facebook page, what do? I'll put some pictures and ask people to like. And do the pictures have anything to do with the brand? We'll come to all that later. Actually, so it's all this constant quest for likes. In fact, I was just thinking once that, if you look at the fabric of social networks, so to speak, Twitter will be like a mini skirt, It's short, it's hot, It's usually, controversial, okay? But, Facebook is a Lycra swimsuit for me. Okay, it makes for pretty pictures that keeps on saying Lycra, please Lycra, so on and so forth. Okay. If you're all the spam, you want some peace and quiet, go to Google+, okay? It's absolutely tranquil. For me, it's like a pair of pajamas. People rarely see you in it, okay? So why does all this happen, really? Is that what advertisers and marketers of big brands, and therefore now small brands and startups, they've just taken the bad habits of what I say old media and transferred it to new media. I mean, you have television, you had press. What is the fundamental structure or the business structure that it follows? It just follows that you buy an audience and you push messages, right? And you have money, you buy a bigger audience. You have money, you craft a better message. You buy an audience, you push a message. And when it came to, therefore, digital media, they're still doing absolutely the same bad habits, Those banner ads, which keep popping up on every page. I'm online at least 18 hours a day. All my waking time, I'm online for the last 10 years or so. I would have clicked on 4 banners, I think, in my life. And all 4 because one idiot put that X in the wrong place, It's fundamentally using the contract of television and newspapers and, converting it to social media. In fact, I think all marketing managers think this way. Money can't buy me love. Yes, I've heard that. But that's okay. I just want a few likes, That's all they want to do. But we have to do it differently. After all, we are all startups out here. First thing, we don't have money. I hope so. At least I don't. I mean, last 3 years, I've been running 10-10-10. We still call it a startup because of that only. In fact, I'm trying to classify myself as a not-for-profit organization, and take donations or something, and that's right? What we really need to do is reimagine this world. What has happened is, we don't live in an age of digital media. For me, Facebook and Twitter are not social media. And because the moment you think of it as media, you'll go back to this habit of creating an audience, pushing message, buying an audience, pushing message. Actually, we live a life. We live a digital life. Over the last 10, 15 years, our lives have completely changed. The way we make friends has changed. The way we keep friends has changed. The way we relate to content has changed. In today's life, in fact, Facebook and Twitter are not the media. People are the media. Every link that you see, every film that you see, every content that you see, it's actually come to you from some friend, shared on email, shared over WhatsApp, something of that sort. So it's an age where people are media, and therefore, building a brand has to be slightly reimagined. Okay, so what do tech startups, what do any startup people do then? In this case, there are some 3-4 key things, Your product is your message, I joined advertising in '92. At that time, all of us, the coolest brands around the world, what everybody wanted to work on, were always Pepsi and Coke. Colored water, fantastic advertising, because it worked at that time. But today, if you see any survey, you see anything, the coolest brands are, let's say, Google and Apple, because they do cool things, If the old paradigm was brands talked and people listened, today's mantra is actually brands do and people talk. So the best weapon you have to stand out in a clutter and all that stuff is actually your product or your service. How interesting you can make it, how cool you can make it. And people like it. People like brands and experiences. And who are the people? If people are the media, who are the first people who share this interesting product or service that you have? It's actually your customers are your media. It's one, having customers as media, and it's not just enough to leave it at that. If today I have a good experience, I'm quite likely to share it on a social network. However, as a business owner, what you can do is make it easy for your customers to share. Your product thing. Make it, incentivize them to share. Make it worth their while to share. But then you have the true media if your customers actually go and endorse your product. There's no need to go and buy hashtags and all that stuff right now. Of course, tomorrow we all become big brands. We might have to go to TV and create awareness and scale up. All that is different. But initially, when you're starting, you don't want to talk to 1 billion Indians. You probably want to get your first 1,000 customers or your first 2,000 customers. So the best way to get that is actually make your product as cool and as interesting as possible, and make your customers actually, go and talk about it. Help them do it. And your sales force is really your employees. I never understand companies, which will have, let's say an individual in the company will have a blog or something, a Twitter account. These views of this person do not necessarily represent the views of the company. I never really understood that, especially when it comes to startups and all that stuff. For me, the view of a company is actually the kind of aggregate of the view of its people. That's all there is to it. Because we keep saying a company is nothing but people. But however, the company is supposed to have a view which is completely different from people. So using your employees, right? Asking your employees to reach out and talk to their networks is again a great way of starting out. And finally, as a founder, it's actually, you are the brand ambassador. Congrats. You could be Amitabh Bachchan or Shah Rukh Khan or whatever it is, because the most important thing in a startup actually is to build that personal brand, right? So when it comes to building a personal brand, I mean, what do you really do? It's not, I managed to build over time by telling PGs to people, but actually building up, going out there and talking about your business, people like it when founders and CEOs do it. Like even now, Anand Mahindra is probably the biggest brand ambassador for Mahindra, simply because he's out there talking. And building a personal brand, so whether it comes to your product, whether it comes to your service, whether it comes to yourself, how do you build a brand in this era of social media? First of all, be yourself. I mean, you really cannot try and be something you're not. So be natural, do something you like. It's very likely that the founder is interested in the area in which his or her startup works. So be yourself. Two is, okay, be yourself, be interesting. Right? At the end of it, you want to create things that people want to share. It's not necessary to be funny or nice. You can be informative. You can be educated. You can just be nice. People tend to share all these things, Like, I don't know how many of you follow Prem Panikkar, who's the managing editor of Yahoo. I follow him, and every morning he just tweets some 30 links, which, and then I keep reading all those links, and 10, 10, 10 is where it is. But then he's informative because of that, right? Because he's sharing all those things. And third really is, engage. So whether as your product, as your founder, as your employees, go out there and engage with people, just talk. Actually, in the social media world, the rules of brand building have just changed. Right now, you want to take your brand from here to here. The best way to do it is actually start small, be nice, be organic, and don't spam all of us. Thank you. Thank you.